Sorry, I got ahead of myself. It's easy to do. 3 minutes ago, this was an empty room. Before we begin, Cindy Fountain is going to make a quick announcement.
The announcement is when you're sitting up here, your future is so bright you have to wear sunglasses because you can't see. So I just want to remind everybody that next Sunday is going to be our Power of the Vote at Greater St. Stephen First Church on Eastbury, and there are a few. That's too far. There are a few flyers back there if anybody wants to pick one up if you think you're going. We already have 8 confirmed canvassers, so woohoo, including somebody coming from Longview, Texas, and the state of Wisconsin. So we really want to show up for them. The main thing we're needing volunteer-wise right now is our community outreach, which is going to be helping to pay people's electric bills. So we need some volunteers. It's a pretty simple process. I've tried it out for practice. We need a few volunteers for that also. Anyway, free food. If you get a meal ticket when you get there, if you're a canvasser, you're going to get treated here at Westside next Sunday. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Welcome to Westside Unitarian Universalist Church, where compassion leads us to work for justice and equality. I'm glad you came today, and it is my hope that you will find something here that nourishes your heart, feeds your mind, and grows your spirit. My name is Debbie Rake, and I'm your worship associate this morning. Be you a spiritual seeker, an atheist, or a theist, Westside is a community of many beliefs, genders, and sexualities, a community of diverse cultural, racial, and class backgrounds, a community of varied abilities and gifts. Some here find inspiration in the great books, others in the great outdoors, and others still in great conversations. Whoever you may be, all are welcome in our inclusive congregation. To newcomers and old friends alike, together we say, welcome. At Westside, we are raising the next generation of Unitarian Universalists, and we want them to know that they are an important part of our community. Several years ago, we chose to be radically inclusive and to adopt a multi-generational worship where our services include all family members. So, welcome especially to children and youth of all ages. There are a number of announcements included in your order of service. Please take any of them with you that you might need for reminders this week or to share with others. And I'd like to call your attention again, what Cindy said is opportunities to help in getting out the vote. And there's also a Soul Matters Covenant group forming now. If you haven't tried that, I recommend it. It's a good way to get to know people. For those of you joining us online or visiting with us today, if you are not already on our mailing list, please sign up by clicking the link, say that 3 times fast, at the bottom of our westsideu.org website. And for those of you here in person with us, please take a moment to silence all your devices. This morning, the reflection will be given by our Minister Emeritus, the Reverend Dr. Russell Elleven. His reflection today will be via recorded video. It is titled, Let's Eat, and it's about the relationships between food and religion. Okay. Now, I invite you to take a deep breath, and from wherever you are, settle into this sacred space that we create, and let us worship together as we listen to this morning's prelude, Maple Leaf Rag by Scott Joplin, performed by Dr. Yuki Kumamoto. Okay, we're awake. Our opening words are from Invitation to Arrive and Rest by Sherry Woodbury. Daniel Melendez will join me in these words. Out of the din of the city,
away from the noise and the crowds,
we come to rest in this moment,
in this place,
set apart from the never-ending to-do lists,
embracing the seventh day, a day of rest.
we come to the warmth and stillness.
Of this sacred hour,
Remember, you have chosen to be here. Something in your life led you to arrive here now.
whatever tasks and cares await you, now for this brief time, simply rest.
Allow your soul to be nurtured. Let the waves in your mind and heart gradually recede.
As you come home to yourself, holy and whole,
Come, let us worship together. Thank you, Daniel. As do many Unitarian Universalist congregations, we begin our time together this morning with the lighting of a chalice. I invite Diane Jones to come forward and light our chalice this morning. The chalice is a symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith and represents the Unitarian Universalist Association, or UUA. The flaming chalice symbolizes the heritage of our past, the warmth of community, and the light of hope within this church today. Our chalice lighting words, Flame in Our Hearts, are by Vanessa Taitang.
Like the flame of the chalice, may the flame in our hearts burn, remaining unextinguished. May it ignite our energies, our drive, our resolve to dream, to build, and live into the world of good which exists for now only in our imaginings.
Our opening hymn is number 323, Break Not the Circle, in your gray hymnal. Please stand if you are able and so moved, and join our song leader, Scott Paulson.
Break not that circle, make it wider
Please remain standing and join me in our affirmation. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest of truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to work for justice through action, to serve others in community, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with creation. Thus do we covenant with one another. You may be seated. Please come forward if you are young at heart and would like to have a close-up view of our Time for All Ages, presented by our one-of-a-kind Director of Radical Exploration, Nikki Kennedy. Afterwards, we will sing the children back to their seats with "This Little Light of Mine." It's number 118 in your gray hymnal.
You guys hear me? Oh, there we go. Good morning. Okay, wait, hold on. We're still moving. We can do a better good morning than that, y'all. You ready? On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. Oh my gosh, that energy is incredible. Thanks, you guys. So I am excited to see all of you here. I love seeing your smiles. I love the excitement you have to come and get peppermint tea or a donut in the morning or to give high fives. Or, I don't know, some of you like some of that coffee and goldfish too. Yeah, good thing we have some decaf. I know. But the beautiful thing about when we gather here at Westside, we gather to celebrate community. We gather to celebrate that we get to be in community. We gather to celebrate this amazing group of people. Now, here's the thing, is that the people we gather with today, we won't ever be the same group again, right? Next week, there'll be different people here. There'll be some people not here. So every time we gather, it's something special to celebrate. Community can be a gathering of many different types of groups. When you think of gathering and community, what are some of the groups that you gather with or that come to mind that people gather with? James? Your classmates at school? Can y'all think of any other times you gather in community? Amelia? In classes? That's right, like we did together. That's right. Chloe? Friends at a party? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Saturday night party. Yes, of course, Chloe. Yes, of course. So when you gather with these people, when you gather in community, are there ever particular reasons that you gather? What are some of those reasons you gather, James? To have fun? Roman? It's not nice to be alone. Yeah, we like to be together, Riley. But you can, but that wouldn't be a reason that we gather then, would it? Like alone time is important too. Yes, Chloe? To celebrate something? Yeah. Maybe for yes. To learn. James, you are such a good you. Yes. Ooh, a birthday. That was on my list. A birthday party. We talked about school dances or maybe shows. We talked about families and holidays and celebrations of life and friendships. So when we gather, one of the things that I see people really enjoying a lot of times, maybe not all the time, but a lot of times, is when we get to have coffee. It's when we get to have muffins. It's when we get to have food, maybe grapes. I know a lot of you guys get very excited for donuts. Donuts, see, yes. So, we eat food because it nourishes our body, but especially when there's lots of colors on our plates, we can make healthy choices, we can have yummies. Some of you, donuts are, a church thing, right? And that's wonderful. Food can share a glimpse into our story. Maybe it's a family story, like when we have our bread communion. Some of you bring different breads that represent something from your history, something that you like, maybe something you grew up eating. Westsiders gather, we gather in community for lots of reasons. Some of those that you listed for sure, but what are some of the other reasons? They could be for social justice, to learn and equip, to help make sure others have opportunities. We gather to live into our values, and we always remember that love is at the center, right? So one of the gatherings that Westside definitely lives into, celebrating in our community, is food and coffee. I may have mentioned that already this morning. I'm not totally sure. But to me, when we gather for a meal, I mean, it's important that we make sure there's food there for everybody to eat, because some people have different dietary needs. But it's not really the food that makes me so excited to gather with you guys. It's the conversations. It's the sharing. It's the stories. It's the jokes. It's the learning. It's being together. These are very important times, and they allow us to grow. Not just you guys, but the adults. Some of the adults are always like, Nikki, when's our next potluck? Because they enjoy being together in community. And I know you guys do too. So I wonder when we gather next to share a meal together, what kind of questions you're going to ask. Maybe who is a new person you're going to meet, and what kind of food is going to go into your belly. Let's think about it. I look forward to gathering with some of you today, and some of you next month, and some of you next Sunday at the park for donuts and coffee when we have Ari in the park. I hope you guys all have a beautiful week, and thank you for being here.
Wait, you guys have decaf?
Yeah, we have decaf coffee. Little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine,
I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Light of mine, oh, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Good morning. My name is Brenda McKeon, and I'm one of the Pastoral Care Team Associates. In our community here at Westside, we make time each week to share pieces of our lives with one another. We do this because each person in our community has value. Each person's experience matters. Members of the team can be identified wearing a Pastoral Care Team badge on Sundays. Please submit your joys and concerns by completing one of these forms at the welcome desk, by emailing us at pastoralcare@westsideuu.org, or contacting any of the team members. The other current members of the team are Jane Hardwick, Debbie Rake, John Fisher, Carol Kappa, and Barbara Crotty. Would the members of the team please raise your hands so that we can see you? Thank you. We share our concerns with one another today, knowing that our joys can bring into knowing that sorrows come into each person's life, knowing that together we offer comfort, and we have no concerns today. We also share our joys with each other, knowing that joys come into our lives, knowing that together our voices can raise in a chorus of celebration. If you would raise your hand when I call you. Davika Lyles, Davika Riley, and Gwen Genius had a table at Main Event yesterday where they distributed 8 voter applications and checked 15 voter statuses, including Main Event employees. Main Event provided the pizza and drinks. It was a blast, and we're doing it again today. And the other joy is from Carol Kappa and Sue Spell, who are both grateful for another birthday celebration this week. We make time each week for musical centering, knowing that the lives and experiences of every person matter, and together our light shines brighter. As we hold all the joys and concerns among us,
both spoken and unspoken, let us sing together number 1009, Meditation on Breathing, in the Teal hymnal.
When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love.
Good morning. My name is Glenda Hood, and I will be your meditation reader this morning. I chose one to go along with Russell's title of Let's Eat. This is Field at Table by the Reverend Nancy Schaffer. When I begin to bless this food and close my eyes, I lose myself. First, just in green. How do leaves grow themselves this green? And how do they grow at all to be so large? And how do they make themselves from soil, which in itself is brown, and sunlight and water help? But how is the end of this green? How can I bless this food? It blesses me. Thank you, I say, for this bowl, which is also field, this green, which is meal before me. Thank you, I say, that this green becomes me. Thank you for the mysteries of this life. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.
Here at Westside, we practice our UU faith in a variety of ways. One of those ways is by giving 100% of gifts to our weekly collection, unless otherwise designated, to support organizations who carry out our transcendent values of compassion, justice, and equality. Today is a little different. Today is the 5th Sunday in September, and in the months that have an extra Sunday, we collect for our own community events, because at Westside UU, we value the times that we can gather together and share our lives with one another. As our church community grows, we want to expand the opportunities for fun and games, celebrations and sorrows, and memorials and ceremonies. Our fifth Sunday plate offerings will help offset the cost of these special offerings so that everyone in our church community can participate. Please give as you can so that we can expand our game nights, potlucks, picnics, special outdoor services, celebrations of life, and community outreach programs. If you prefer, you can give online by using the Vanco mobile app, which you can download from the App Store. You can also just mail a check to the church at 901 Page Avenue, Fort Worth. Thank you for your contribution today. If you are giving toward your stewardship pledge, please use the envelopes at the bottom of the bowl as it is passed. Now, let us enjoy this musical offering, Straight River Rag, by Melody Bober, performed by Yuki. The Flying Fingers. We thank you so much for putting into practice the spiritual value of generosity. Our giving connects us to the wider web of our community. And thank you for also keeping your stewardship commitment current to keep our congregation's important work going. Our reading today is number 726, Food for the Spirit, by Robert Eller Isaacs, in your gray hymnal. Give you a minute to find it. Please read the italicized words aloud. Deep in ourselves resides the religious impulse.
726.
Oh.
I was hungry.
Oh, okay. I put the wrong one in my book. Sorry. Oh, well, that's a good thing. Okay. All right, that is different. Okay. I was hungry, and you gave me food. I was thirsty, and you gave me drink.
I was a stranger, and you welcomed me. I was naked, and you clothed me.
I was sick, and you visited me. I was in prison, and you came to me.
Here is the bread of life, food for the spirit. Let all who hunger come and eat.
Here is the fruit of the vine, pressed and poured out for us. Let all who thirst now come and drink.
We come to break bread. We come to drink of the fruit of the vine. We come to make peace.
May we never praise God with our mouths while denying in our hearts or by our acts the love that is our common speech.
I come to be restored in the love of God. I come to be made new as an instrument of that love.
I know that I am worthy. I know that I am welcome. All are worthy.
All are welcome.
Come into the embrace and remembrance of this communion. And now, we will hear the reflection from Dr. Elleven.
Hello, my friends. It's good to be with you again today, albeit virtually. I enjoyed my time being with you in person for a couple of Sundays, and I hope you all are doing well, and I hope you're enjoying being with your West Side community this Sunday morning. Today, I'm going to reflect with you about religion and food. Now, at first, it may well be that making a connection between religion and food seems a bit tenuous. I don't always think about the ties that bind food and religion together, and perhaps you don't typically do either. I believe my first connection with food and religion was as my family gathered around the dinner table. In my earliest memories, my family did not attend church. That would come a few years later. Yet my parents always required we say a prayer of thanks to God before the meal. My father would often get the ball rolling with what I thought to be long and lingering kinds of prayer that went on and on, while all I could think about was my mother's fried chicken and okra. Later, Dad invited my mother to pray for the evening meal, and eventually my two sisters and I were given the opportunity to give thanks for our food. My prayer was notably shorter than my father's. I repeated a prayer I'd heard at school that went, "Good food, good meat, good God, let's eat." I say notably because my father noticed my prayer and did not find it the least bit humorous. In fact, it could be that my family's move toward going to church most Sundays was so that I would take the faith more seriously. And so if you'll indulge me, I did find a dinner prayer written by Debbie Alsop, who says she prays like this: "Lord, my soul is ripped with riot, incited by my wicked diet. We are what we eat," said a wise old man. "Lord, if that's true, I'm a garbage can. So grant me strength that I may not fall into the clutches of cholesterol. May my flesh with carrot curls be dated, that my soul may be polyunsaturated. And show me the light that I may bear witness to the President's Council on Physical Fitness. And at oleomargarine I'll never mutter, for the road to hell is paved with butter." And cream is cursed, and cake is awful, and Satan is hiding in every waffle. Mephistopheles lurks in pepperoni, the devil himself in each slice of bologna. Beelzebub is a chocolate drop, and Lucifer is a lollipop. Give me this day my daily slice, cut it thin and toast it twice. I beg upon my dimpled knees, deliver me from jujubes. And when my days of trial are done, and my war with melted milk balls won, I can do it, Lord, if you'll show to me the virtues of lettuce and celery and crisp fried chicken from the South. Lord, if you love me, shut my mouth. Amen. While I'm quite impressed with Alsop's prayer, I'm not so sure my dad would be. But 3 of the world's most renowned religions sort of start off with food, don't they? In the Garden of Eden, right? Both Judaism and Christianity believe in the Garden of Eden. And Islam has a very similar story wherein Adam's God-made spouse, Eve, eats from the tree of knowledge, or for Muslims, the tree of eternity. However the God of the Bible works, and we are told it is in mysterious ways that God works, but however it is, the God of the Bible decided to test human beings, and particularly Eve, to see how well she obeyed. And just for the record, relationships where one of those involved tests the other for their love and allegiance, well, that's not a very healthy relationship. But the desire that comes from the possibility that eating an apple offered by a snake or serpent, a piece of food, would grant the one who has eaten it with knowledge or eternity. Well, it was too much for Eve and then for Adam to resist. These stories were, of course, written by men, and when they were creating their religions, they basically begin the entire religious story by blaming a woman for the things in life we do not enjoy. Things like work and labor and illness were all blamed on the fall. Now, I don't know about you, but I can't help but think if I were in the same situation Eve found herself, that I too would have taken a bite of that apple. The desire for knowledge or eternity would have been too much for me to resist. And I can't help but think many of the Unitarian Universalists I know would do the same. Rather than deride Eve, perhaps we should honor her courage for doing something that freed her from the servitude of this God who did not trust what that same God had created. But I digress. Later in my religious studies, I learned about the hospitality code our religious ancestors lived by in the Mediterranean and the Middle East. That if a traveler or a stranger asked for the hospitality of another, that request was almost always honored. Life and death could literally hang in the balance if hospitality was not offered. And the understanding that I too might need the hospitality of another one day was a thought often present. So the feeding and sheltering of the stranger was strongly encouraged by our religious predecessors. It doesn't seem to be as emphasized today, does it? The people I hear and see who claim to be the most religious among us often fear the stranger today. They cross the street or look the other way or desire to tighten border security such that the stranger, no matter how literally they fear for their life, is offered little hospitality. What little food and shelter is offered is often done begrudgingly and with little compassion. Food can also be used as an alarm of sorts that others who are not like us are nearby. Different cultures prepare different kinds of cuisines using different ingredients from their native homelands. Often these different kinds of foods will be accompanied by different kinds of smells. They may not use the same kind of eating utensils we use, or they may even eat mostly using their hands. There's a story about an older gentleman who walks into his favorite restaurant and, as always, orders a bowl of potato soup. The server brings it, and for several minutes the man just sits and looks at the bowl disconsolately. Eventually, he flags down the server and he says, "I can't eat this soup. You try it." "Why do you want me to try it?" asks the server. "I'll bring you another." "No," says the man, "I want you to taste it." "Why? Is it too salty, too cold, maybe?" "Just try it," says the man. "Listen, tell me what's wrong with it," says the server. "Is it maybe a little sour?" "Please," insists the man, "taste it yourself." All right, says the server. "For a good customer like you, I'll try the soup." The server picks up the bowl and says, "Okay, where's the spoon?" "Aha," the man exclaims. "Now you see my problem." This is not a particularly funny story, in my opinion, but it also, in a small way, talks about our expectations around food. This gentleman expected a spoon, was not given a spoon, and then rather than just asking for a spoon, plays a game with the server in order to reinforce the mistake the server made by not delivering a spoon. The way we eat can sometimes be as divisive as it is inviting. I've also read where eating food can serve as a uniting force among many smaller religious communities. In a book titled Holy Food: How Cults, Communes, and Religious Movements Influenced What We Eat by Christina Ward, I learned a great deal about utopian communities that have popped up at various times in our nation's history. Ward not only examined these different groups' religious or theological ideas, but also how food specifically fit into the community's belief system, and as an added bonus, offers recipes from these groups in the book. It is a fascinating read, and one I'd highly recommend if you find the topic interesting at all. Just email me if you need the title again. Ward starts out by reminding us about food laws within the Jewish and Islamic faiths and literature. I was also reminded how food, health, and faith makes up a great deal of the Seventh-day Adventist tradition. But then Ward went on to examine very small religious communities, some who trace their religious identities back to the 12 tribes of Israel. Others that were offshoots of other more familiar faiths, but that there were disagreements of what should be consumed for food, which was, after all, a gift from God. But something that intrigues me even more still is the idea that something we ate a very long time ago, probably by accident, something that we may very well eat variations of today, may in fact be the catalyst of humanity's religious impulse. These plants they ate were psychoactive, and those who would eat these plants or drink these teas made from these plants would have very creative visions. And in many societies, the individuals who habitually used these plants and had these visions were held up as religious figures in the community, as healers, and as sort of a conduit between this world and the next. I've read a lot about the psychedelic renaissance that some believe to be occurring these days. I read about how eating psilocybin mushrooms, along with talk therapy or integration, can help people with PTSD, depression, addictive behaviors, and end-of-life anxiety, among other seemingly miraculous cures. But many of the people who are undergoing these clinical trials are not only feeling better mentally and emotionally, they are also finding God. Even avowed atheists are having religious experiences while under the influence of a special variety of mushroom. And as I read about some of these experiences, I couldn't help but notice how similar the encounters seemed to near-death experiences. And then I read a book by Brian Murarescu titled The Immortality Key, The Secret History of the Religion with No Name, published by St. Martin's Press, and which made it to the New York Times bestseller list. And while I'm not convinced the author has connected all of the dots, there does seem to be something there worth further consideration. I may read something else that changes my mind one way or the other, but the idea that much of religion may have been made up by people eating a mushroom that happens to be a psychoactive drug, well, that's kind of compelling to me. So food, it's not just a fuel for the body. It can be used to differentiate us from others. Food can be used in an effort to bring people closer to their God. Food can be used and offered when disaster strikes. Food can be blessed by us in the hope it will bless us in return. And food can bless a community, to grow a community. Breaking bread with others is an exercise in community building. And I hope every time there is a way to eat with other Westsiders, you take up that opportunity. I wish we could have potlucks every week at church. I know that's not feasible, and I know it takes a lot of work, but the act of bringing food, providing nourishment for your community, exchanging recipes and learning new things about each other, that, my friends, is some powerful stuff. Every time there's a potluck at Westside, I hope you will bring some food to share. I hope you might sit with others you do not know well, and that maybe you stick around a bit to help clean up afterward. I hope you'll say, let's eat. And every time you hear that Westside is hosting circle suppers, that you'll get on that list, that you show up and be with one another over a meal and create relationships that you'd not otherwise have, that when you hear of circle suppers forming, you'll say, let's eat. And if you have the opportunity to meet other Westsiders at a restaurant as a group or as a couple of couples or whatever combination that might be, when you receive that invitation, I hope you'll say, let's eat. Sharing food with others in religious community is a time-honored way of growing closer together. And I hope every time your West Side community gathers for food, you will be there. But it's probably best if you leave the magic mushrooms at home. As we rise in body or spirit and join together in singing our closing hymn number 209, O come, you longing, thirsting souls. Let's just sing the first two verses.
Souls, drink freely from the spring, and come you weary, famished folk, and end your hungering. Why then yourself on empty air? Why not be satisfied? For everywhere a feast is spread, that's always at our side. For as the rain and snow above fall not in vanity, but for this purpose was earth to feed humanity, so shall the word of Spirit serve as seed within our Lord, and we may bear so rich a yield as brings the harvest home.
Our closing words today are, "We Are One" by Amy Zucker Morgenstern. Never has it been more true than now. We extinguish this flame, but the sparks within us remain alight. From each of us in our supposed solitude, the signals buzz and hum, sparkling through space, one to another, connecting us invisibly but palpably. We are one, and from every window our light shines. The chalice is now extinguished, but its light lives on in the minds and hearts and souls of each one of you. Carry that flame with you as you leave this place and share it with those you know, with those you love, and most especially with those you have yet to meet. Please join me in the congregational closing. Go in peace, seeking justice. Go in peace, committed to equal rights and opportunities for all. Go in the peace that is created when together we build communities of true solidarity, deep compassion, and fierce, unrelenting love. Go in peace. May it be so. Blessed be, and amen.